Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I would like us to take a look into the Cypress test, which I have showed previously. And in the Cypress test I have showed how to basically how I use it to see data onto my front end, but I did update it. Yeah, so before we can see the data in, we need to make sure that we got the back end running. So I've got my Docker compose file up and running with all the backend including Kafka and all those services running at the moment. So I think the next thing to do is to run the services. So the first one I will run, as you already know from my previous videos, I show you how I run this. So I get this running because this video will run on too long. So the first thing to do is run the config server, and then we need to, obviously after this config server, we need to run the discovery, because this is what the other microservices look up to get to gain access. Otherwise they won't be able to serve. If that one is not running, the rest of it will not kick off and run. And obviously the underlying services or the infrastructure services needs to run as well. So let me just run this one and it should be okay. This is the cat service, and then I'll run checkout. So I'm going to run all these, and then I'm going to run the gateway last. That's the last one I'm gonna run. I'll run the notification just before that one, but I'll run the rest of it all together and I'll be right back. I've got the gateway running. So yeah, gateway being the last service running, and we can also sort out the front end. The front end is running, but we've got no data whatsoever on the website, as you can see right here. So the next thing to do is that I'm gonna talk about this one, which is basically the Cypress that I use to run the test. So what I've done is I've prepared some JSON files containing some data for 4 different users, and I'm just going through this loop. I'm going through this loop to make sure that all these users run the data, and the data fixture is basically the JSON files here. I'm getting the username. I'm actually getting the password. I'm hiding the password in the configuration file, so I'm getting the password from there. The files itself is basically here. So we've got admin. This is all the data for the admin. This is all the data for Melissa, whatever her name is, Sophia. This is the data for Sophia. Product Sophia, product mail, product test. Yeah, that is for product test, and this one is for admin. Okay, so basically I'm getting the details there, and if we go into, we will see the ci.seed category. So the first thing I'm loading is the categories. I want to install the category so that it's there in the database, otherwise it will fail. Go into the commands, then if we look for seed categories, and we can see that we are calling the endpoint to the category of the product. The endpoint to the category is the product service, and this is the endpoint categories, and that this is the user details we are taking on to do that. And right, And then if we have to take a look at the one that we are looping for each is seed products. So we go back to the data seeding, seed products for users. Can we go back here? Seed products for users. So it's not that one. Seed products for users. And then, you know, we are getting the credentials details from Keycloak as usual, and then the Fisher files, and obviously all the things that we need, we are passing it on. And then we are looping through the Fisher files, and then we are just doing that thing, and then we are going through that product, and we are just installing to the product details. Sorry, installing to the database, seeding all those data by looping through the data. Products for each. So when we make a call for the fishes, so this is when we make a call to this method, this is the details we are passing on. So if we go here, we are obviously passing on the user details, and we are looping through this user data, and we are passing on. So we go users dot for each. So go through this list of a list of objects, let's say that, and then go through that for each, and use this variable, and then obviously we are passing that to the seed products for users. In that method, we are passing these variables from this list. If we go into here back where what we were looking at, so when we pass that Fisher file, so we got three parameters we were passing on: the username, password, and the Fisher file. So when we pass that one on here, then we take that Fisher file, we store into this variable, we say dot then store into this variable, and then we are taking that data variable, then we say dot products, then go through each of it. So go through this each. In the, let's go for example this one. We've got products. You see, when you first look at the JSON file, we've got a product. So we got a list of objects. This is 1, that is 2, you know, and so forth, all under one particular, I would say, list. Yeah, so we look through that list products for each. So data.products for each, right? And then we give it a thing and say, all right, go use these details. So the method is a post the URL with the endpoint to the create product endpoint, and the product is the body, and then the product is the body, and then we are passing on obviously the headers. Then we are checking the status afterwards. That's all we are doing in here. We just want to get data into the database. So let's get this running, otherwise my time will run out. I think we will start looking at the front end once I get this one going. Hopefully this works. Okay, let me bring it over here so you can see here, and I'm just gonna choose Chrome. And yes, we've run it, and we're just going to run the test, and hopefully everything is fine because we've got everything running, and it's 200. You can see the data there. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this one, and if let's just click here to refresh, and we should see all the data. And we got the users, what the product is for here, which is beautiful, all nice. And if we look at the console, there isn't much of a problem here apart from this one complaint, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't break the system. So in the next video, I'm gonna carry on and talk about the front end, and basically, yeah, what I have here, we're gonna go through it step by step. I am using Keycloak, so I'm gonna show you how I managed to use Keycloak to control this. Right? Okay, see you then. Thank you for watching.